All right. I hope. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mind Shift Monday. Mind Shift Monday. Mind Shift Monday. As you know, let me go ahead and tune the music out. Hopefully, everybody was able to vibe out. I'm keeping it in the background a bit. Welcome to Mind Shift Monday. All right. And as you know, and if you're new to Mind Shift Monday, if this is your first time, or if you're a replay viewer, thank you so much for tuning in. And Mind Shift Monday, of course, bringing transformative ideas, talking about current events, slightly, but just really going into depth as far as where the world is heading, what we're experiencing right now. Just the whole thing of transformation, our minds, our hearts, everything, and how we can just continue navigating, and then also how we're seeing things right now so that we can understand and be more empowered to do the things that we're being called to do. All right, so welcome to Mind Shift Monday, where we exercise everything else. So why not exercise the way that we think and see things? All right, this will help us gain a better perspective or a higher perspective and insight into what's going on around us, whether it's inside our daily lives and also whether it's just in the world in general. All right, and this is a heart-based frequency. All right, it's full of love vibrations, full of heart vibrations. All right, but we're also dealing with the making sure we keep everything connected. So the mind, heart, and the soul. Okay. So yeah, welcome to Mind Shift Monday. This is I also want to let people know that Mind Shift Monday is definitely a dialogue. Okay. Eventually, as more people join the live or just tune in, whether now or in the future, this will become, a dialogue where we can just have healthy conversation about what's really going on, experiences, things like that. But there might even be another chapter that ends up on leadingwhilelearning.com. As you can see, this is the logo. The website is leadingwhilelearning.com, and the platform is nearing this week, actually. So I'm looking forward to just really, really honing in for myself, honing in on where we're heading, and also my own personal journey, because Mind Shift Monday is a commitment that I've made, that I felt called to make for myself, to just stay committed to a single thing outside of my daily everything, right? Something to just keep the momentum going. Because when we have an idea of what we want to do in life, or we have an idea of how we want to show up, and maybe we don't, but we just know we need to do something, then it's always good to just commit to something, or, whether it's creating videos, whether it's being a content creator, whether it's showing up to work, whether it's showing up, in your daily affairs, with your family, with your friends, for yourself, really showing up for yourself. Because a lot of what we're doing, honestly, we may want to do it for the people that are around us, but everybody is busy doing what they're doing in their life. Once we are solely by ourselves, we are in our own communion with ourselves and with God, right? So, um, oh, not yet. All right. Yeah, not yet, but that is definitely the goal. And appreciate you, Takia, for coming through for me and just vibing out on Mind Shift Monday. So, yeah, so as we continue to move forward, the main thing is making sure that internally, like, we're just really communing with ourselves, with the Most High of ourselves, with God, with, everybody has a different way that they believe in things, right? Okay. But I just want you to tap into yourself. When you tap into yourself, you tap into the Creator. Okay. There is no ifs, ands, and buts about it. All right. So whether it's this or that, at the end of the day, your Creator, who created you, how did you arrive? All right. That could just be giving thanks to your mother, right? But then how did she arrive? It's a continuation, on and on and on. But let's go ahead and get into tonight's I was about to say story, then I was about to say lesson. Let's go ahead and get into the theme for today, which is being deeply connected, right? The social media changes, relationships, nature, and life in general. All right. And hopefully I can be heard pretty well. I should be. All right. All right. So being deeply connected. All right. So the main reason why I thought about this was dealing with, being on Twitter and seeing and Instagram, right? And just on social media, period. We already see the changes happening in the world, but also the changes happening right before our eyes on these platforms, okay? And so we're all connected and interwoven in these changes, because no matter how people feel about social media, whether you like it, whether you don't, you're still here. All right, you're still on the platform unless you have an exit strategy or something like that, to where you like, yep, I'm only gonna be here for 3.9 months or something like that, or another year, or until I do this thing. Regardless of what it is, you're in the web. Okay, so these changes that are taking place, we got Threads with Instagram and the Fediverse. I know a lot of people haven't even heard of the Fediverse, but that's actually the protocol that Threads is built off of, and how that intertwines into these different other platforms. And then also we have X, all right, which is going to be the new name for Twitter. Okay. And so just thinking about and feeling all of these changes taking place, like we're literally just in a on the pioneering front of an entire new world, man. We haven't even began to really get into how things are changing. All right. So with that being said, to me, and this is something that I wanted to bring up for a while, but to me, like, all these platforms are only, everything is being upgraded based on the human, all right, and nature. All right, everything is being upgraded based off of the human and nature, right? The earth, the cosmos, and the person, the human being, humanity, right? We don't necessarily, we've always been an upgrade. We can go in nature right now and literally be an upgrade, like, and receive an upgrade. Like, we can be interwovenly connected. I don't know if that's a word, but we can be very much so connected. If we really took the time out to really see that for ourselves, feel that for ourselves, and just step away from the regular day-to-day hustle, bustle, tussle. But we've got a purpose. We've got things we have to do on this earth, right? We've only got so much time. So it's like, take as much time as you need. You know, a lot of people are due that time, right? But a lot of people are stepping in to what we would say, a whole new world, a whole new front for themselves, a whole new life, period. Just really stepping more into who they truly are and who they're supposed to be showing up in the world. All right. And I think at this point it's like kind of like a what would the word be? Not, you don't have a choice, but yeah, it's just like you need to, right? Because when we step up, it empowers someone else to do the same thing, right? It empowers someone else to do the same thing. So, that's why I'm just very grateful that even after I done had a long day on a Monday, I'm showing up, So whether it's somebody seeing this now or they seeing it later, whether they're hearing it now or they're hearing it later, I'm just grateful to be in the position to say, hey, on this day, this is when I'm showing up. All right. And it's other days where, I would like to put out content, but consistently outside of maybe 1, 2, or 3 Mondays, I think maybe 2 Mondays, maybe 3 Mondays. I'm gonna go back and count 3 Mondays so far out of this year that I haven't shown up. All right. And it might have been for a holiday. It might have been, just to take a breather because I was like, well, seasons do like most episodes and seasons have like 13 episodes. But then I'm looking at, I know this has nothing to do, it does. Because I'm deeply connected in what I'm supposed to be showing up and doing. And so, yeah, I recently looked at La Reina del Sur and they got 60 episodes in one season. And I'm just like, yo, there's no reason why I am taking a break. So, and I can't, I'm not comparing. It's just the fact that it is, putting in the work. Like, why aren't you showing up? So being deeply connected to your purpose, first of all, that's the first thing. Being deeply connected to your purpose. How are you being deeply connected to your purpose? Is there a one thing or something that you're doing? Are there people that you're connecting with, relationships that you look forward to building? You may not be doing it exactly right now. You may be doing it your way. I know everybody always feels like you have to show up online to be doing these things, and you don't. There are plenty of people that are living phenomenal lives without a day on social media. All right. But then we have the internet. Okay. So the biggest thing right now is just, are you showing up for yourself and your purpose? And if you are, what does that truly look like for you? How does it feel? Is it because, is it still for other people? Because we are in service, right? So being deeply connected and interwoven, just like these social media platforms, means that we are connected to other people as well. Okay, and when you are connected to other people, or when your purpose has a connection to other people's purpose as well, then there is also a highlight there where it's like, yeah, you have to do something. All right, so being deeply connected and forming that connection, first of all, with yourself, with the Most High, with your purpose, is just imperative. Okay. Once you are there, it doesn't mean that everything's going to be peachy clean. It just means that you have a compass, you have a North Star. All right. And sometimes it might get distorted because of being distracted, right? You know, but it's like there's always something that will remind you, hey, no, 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 this. And something that I learned, sorry, something that I recently learned about myself was that overwhelm, right? Overwhelm and anxiety will also be a part of resistance, right? And sometimes we're resisting things, or we may feel like, why am I not doing this? Why am I not doing that? You really got to sit down and just take time with yourself and be like, well, why am I not doing it? Is there something there? And that's what I did maybe a day or two ago. And I realized that I was doing something that just wasn't going to be in alignment with how I've already positioned something. Now, that doesn't mean it won't change for the future. It doesn't mean it won't change for whenever. But for the most part, the overwhelm and anxiety came from the pressure to do something that I really ain't gotta be doing. Right? So how many times, do we experience that? And I'll speak for myself. It doesn't happen too often, but in those moments, I'm glad that I was able to regulate my thoughts by just taking time and just asking the question. Kind of doing like an AI prompt and saying, hey, well, why do I feel this way? Why does it feel like I'm not doing this thing? Right? Because things that we truly want to do, we'd be like this. It takes no time for us to get it done and do it, right? And so, but when there's hesitation, and I don't feel like every time there's hesitation or every time that there is resistance, that is something that you shouldn't be doing. It's just the timing. It may be not right now, okay? It may be this is not the season, but it's coming. You might just be sensing something before it's time to make that change. And I know, if anybody knows how that feels, I definitely know how that feels because, I'm very instinctual, and so going off of the feeling of something, sometimes it could be way ahead of time before it's actually time for you to make that move, but you're in preparation. So it's nothing wrong with it. It's just more so prepare for it, be ready for it. This is a possible change. Move into it, right? So being deeply connected within ourselves to be resourceful that way will allow us to be able to take time and say, you know what? I breathed on that one and it's okay. I'm good. Right? And it allow you time to just clear your thoughts, because sometimes you could just be taking in too much external consumption of whatever it is you're looking at. Too many ideas, too many of other people's something, right? But when you take time for yourself to really be clear, right? To gain the clarity, to say, no, I can get, these things can go, that can go. Now I'm definitely clear on that. Okay. It's just certain things that you can do to be clear on what it is and how your connection is with your purpose, your guidance, anything that it is that you need to do. All right. So, anyway, getting back to these social media changes. Yeah, so Twitter is getting ready to launch X-Men. And I mean, it makes sense. SpaceX, right? Elon, we know he's a pioneer in that field, you know, for that exploration. So, I can understand if Twitter, well, X is literally just the launch pad so that people can find their way back to Earth. And it won't just be Earth, it'll probably be Mars and a few other places, you know, you know, hey, I'm just saying. So, and maybe some other travels. You just never know. You never know how these things are going to show up in our lives. The more advanced that we become as human beings and humanity overall, the more we will start to see how these things are interwoven and deeply connected, throughout our lives. And I don't just mean like, physically, but also spiritually, also energetically, also, in the astrals, in other worlds, timelines, stuff like that. So, you know, also for the fact that Elon has Neuralink, there's this really big thing right now where for myself, I know when companies run ads, right, and there is this thing where you're able to use Facebook Pixels and or you can also do retargeting. right? Retargeting ads. So that's basically where you just use like either some pixels or cookies from websites, which is why everybody's asking you, hey, can you accept these cookies, right? They can be cookies, and or it can also be um, what's the other word? Just code. It can be code where, when you go to a website, you like those shoes, and then bam, they're right there. Or you were thinking something, and bam, it's right there. You know, like that's why everything is smart now. Smart phones, smart microwave, smart shoes. Yeah, like smart whatever. But the main thing is dealing with artificial intelligence and this whole Neuralink thing. To me, and they said that X is going to be X, which is the new name for Twitter, will be powered by AI. And so I'm just like, social media is already giving, psychic energy, right? It's already giving, just this whole nuance of information coming from all type of angles. Whatever you want, whatever is just coming full force, right? And so which is one reason why a lot of people, especially children, you know, you really have to be able to discern the information that you receive, because anything can be put out right now, right? But the main thing that I'm getting to is that when dealing with this transition from Twitter to X, and the fact that it's dealing with the interwovens of space and everything and Neuralink, like we're subtly being shifted into these things, right? There's a very deep connection here, all right? And so I just always bring it up so that people can just take heed and go from there. And as I continue to do my research and just intuitively see how things are unfolding, then I always would like to share this with people as well. So also dealing with Instagram and Threads, right? And I mentioned the Fediverse, right? And that's also like this multi-universe thing where all these platforms are connected. All right. So the name of the game right now is who are you connected to and why? Right? Or what are you connected to and why? Right? And even though I say the name of the game, right? It's just the name of everything in life, period. What are you connected to? What are you deeply connected to? Why are you deeply connected to it? What type of relationships are you deeply connected to or connecting to or look forward connecting to? Right now, it may not be in your life right now. It may be, or you may have had or thought it was, and now it's shifting into newer phases of what's really going to be real, right? And so, first honoring again your connection with your purpose, yourself, and just honing in on that, will automatically lead us into the right spaces and places to be connected deeply and rooted with the relationships and nature and life in general. All right. So, just with the social media thing, I just want to just give people a heads up that there is a very deep connection there, and as it continues to unfold, by the time it really unfolds, it'll be about 20, 30 years, right? But at the end of this decade, though, okay, this 20, let's see, this is 2023. Yeah, these are 2020s. It's all about the vision, all right? What you see is still half of what you believe and half of what they say, believe half of what you see, half of what you hear, or something like that. Well, it's still going to be the same thing, but it's about to be on just like overload to the point where you're really just going to have to, and this is why I use the word immerse. I don't use the word immerse for the fact of, oh, I'm just drowning in work, or I'm just immersed in details. No, I use the word immerse for the fact that the idea went away. I use the word immerse for just being literally like seeing like as a radar, right? And really just seeing things as they appear. Okay? Just like a whale. Whales, sea animals, water animals, mammals, like they're immersed in their reality, right? And they're so immersed in it that they have mechanisms that allow them to see things a certain way. Their brain, their sonar, they hear things a certain way. They even communicate a certain way, right? And so, in the way that I think about immersion and think about being immersed in gratitude, like if you've ever seen one of my posts and I say that, it's a lot of things I can be immersed in, but I just choose gratitude right now because of the shifts that are occurring in my own personal life, seeing it in other people's life, and just in the world in general, just saying, I'm just really grateful. I'm really, really grateful that I can continue moving forward in this journey and just trust that not only am I going to get better every day, but I look forward to just honoring why I am literally opening my eyes every day to do a thing, right? Even if it's not just a small thing, okay? And that goes for everyone, right? You're not just opening your eyes to do a small thing, even if it's a small gesture. It may seem like a small gesture, but small movement has big ripple, okay? Just like throwing a pebble in the water. If you're a good one, you can skip that rock or that little pebble and make waves, right? A butterfly has an effect. Okay, why do they call it the butterfly effect? Why? 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 Okay, I mean that's something that people should probably look up, and I might research it myself. But being deeply connected, especially when going into um, relationships, nature, and life in general. And let's hit on nature right fast and just dealing with Earth. Dealing with I remember seeing this meme where they were, what was it? The dude was sitting on a bench, and it was kind of like people are just literally like going outside just to like just say they outside. A lot of people don't really no, it's just like the movie, dang, it's not a Dr. Seuss movie. I just looked at the little thing, but it's a children's movie. And basically, they remove all the trees. They remove all the trees and they plant fake trees. Like everything is fake. Nothing's real. That way that people ain't gotta take care of nothing. You don't got a reason to act like you're taking care of anything. Or you just need to be dependent. You gotta buy air, you gotta buy water, you gotta buy everything. Everything is you have to buy. And so, I sometimes, that is how we as society treat nature. Instead of being deeply connected and just really sitting with nature and just really appreciating the fact that you are a living human being on Earth, in the cosmos, surrounded around other planets, halfway just got knocked out by an asteroid that was literally meters away, like this, right? Affected by space weather that literally shows up in our space, our local city and towns as floods and rains and just all of a sudden type of weather, right? Hot sunny days, right? And so these things, this is where and everybody may not be meant to establish a deep connection, but you know, I think it's just important that should just be something that, like, off the rip, you should just be innately born with the sense to say, hey, I need to just really step outside and sit by this tree, right? You know, and there's just certain things, like easily, or go for a bike ride. You might not want to walk. Everybody is different. I'm not saying everybody needs to show up in, in nature a certain way. You might just enjoy walking, right? Just for the heck of walking. And you're like, this is how I get out. I walk. I go, and you may stay somewhere where it's commutable like that. Great. Some people like, you ain't about to catch me using my legs. Huh? What? You're not gonna catch me use. Look, hey, I've heard some. Not saying, it didn't come out like that, but I've heard certain things to the extent of where people almost forgot that it's a privilege to be able to just walk outside, to just even lay about, just take time for yourself, you know. Being in Atlanta and being in the big old forest, a city in the forest, right? And people travel here coming from places that barely have trees. Hey, they barely knew what a yard looked like. Their yard was probably one of these little patches. Let me see how I get it. Yeah, one of these little patches right there, So it's like, and once you actually get into it and you start, going on different trails and just exploring nature and just really sitting with nature and just, again, being deeply connected, that's just the surface. Like, that's not even, you know, the ultimate vibe, right? But for starters, the starter kit, we need for the nature starter kit, right? It's just being able to go outside with whatever, whether it's a blanket, whether it's a bike, whether it's some roller skate, just to be outside. Honestly, I don't care how hot it is right now. Everybody's hot is different. Based on how your body is regulated internally and how you've been taking care of yourself as well, and also how you're seeing this as well, because we're also being charged by the sun, right? So it's more of a thing where it's like, you know, for me, I have to say that, you know, it's a hot day, yeah, but at the same time, I'm just like, I'm just grateful for the fact that, there is something that's just like, it's all good. It's all good. Because guess what? People are going to complain regardless. When it gets cold, they're going to be wishing that they had a tenth of the heat that is coming through right now. Right? So this is the part, even so, where sometimes you just got to let people talk, because it's just like, yeah. Or you just keep it real and be like, look, you complaining, but you're going to be wishing for the same thing later this year or earlier next year. Why are you shivering? You know? But, just overall, being deeply connected, whether it's to people, building more powerful relationships that deal with certain aspects of our experience that we never thought of. I know everybody is always talking about healing, but there are so many experiences and trauma that has occurred within this earth timeline that while we've been alive, right? And again, everyone's experiences are different, but there's just been so much trauma that it's just one of those things where there's always going to be healing taking place, So it's just the fact that we're always on the go, and you really have to find time to, or you'll be pushed into it. You never know what's really going to trigger your healing, right? You never know what's going to trigger your healing. You know, it could be any type of situation or circumstance. But as long as you see it that way, as long as you can accept it and receive it, that's the best part about it, because then you'll be able to move through it. You can literally really just go into the thing, take time for yourself. Like, development is real. You know, self-development is real, right? Self-empowerment is real, right? That transformation of yourself and literally becoming a whole new person, sounding different, right? Your voice even sounds different when you're healed, right? It does. If you've ever been a friend to someone or been associated with a person, and you know, you've heard their voice previously, you know, and even their reactions, their responses, you know, to other experiences in the past, and then maybe 10 years later, you're hearing their voice again, and it's just like, no, I can hear the changes, you know. You can see the changes, you know. It just inspires a whole new way of moving. All right. So being deeply connected, you know, this is just something that I wanted to hit on, not to be the guru of this is why we are this, that. No, it's for you to think about for yourself. It's not for me to be this person that I'm like, listen to me. No, people, no. This is for inspirational purposes, motivational purposes, emotional intelligente purposes, okay? All right, this is for a heart-based frequency, right? A heart-based frequency, okay? This is for the crown. This is for our mind and our hearts being connected, right? This is for our gut, you know, the brain that we actually really think with, because we eat more than we more than anything else. So why not? So, you know, it's just more of a thing where, you know, this is just something to think about and take time with, to sit with, and to say, being deeply connected, what does that really mean for me? You know? And really looking at social media, you know, and using it to your advantage. Like, they prompting all this stuff up and making all these changes, and you're growing a business or organization, or you just have something that you're putting out in general, don't waste time. Hey, get into the groove. You feel me? Like, just take advantage of it, because they want you and your dollars, right? Like, there's still a middleman to your money and to your consciousness, right? Because again, we have no idea where this is headed, but we do. There is information out there, but intuitively and using discernment and discretion, advised, like, you know, we just have to use these platforms in the best way possible for what they're propping them up for. You know, they want you to promote your business. They want you to pay to get verified, right? It's no longer, you know, verify your, it literally is verify yourself now. You don't have to wait for someone to verify you. It's the same thing with validation, right? You don't have to wait for them to say, yes, you're worthy to be verified. No, you just pay for it. Yeah. Again, there's always going to be a middleman to our money, right? So which end do you want to be on? Okay. You know, and how do you want to be a part of it? And are you going to be a part of it? You don't have to. But because, again, this is what's happening, you can either create your own, right, in some type of capacity. And there's still the internet. Okay. I really want people to understand this. There's social media, and then there's the internet. There's still the internet, where masses of people still reside and travel and connect to other websites, right? Run ads, all type of stuff. So yeah. So again, being deeply connected, new social media changes, relationships, nature, and life in general. And hopefully this was helpful in some way or just insightful in some way. If it was insightful for you, keep what you want, keep what you learned, but everything else you can just leave it so someone else can pick it up and and move accordingly. But again, this is My Shift Monday. My name is Allison Jones, and we will keep rolling every Monday from here on out. This episode will also be available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. All right, so thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this is My Shift Monday. We exercise everything else, so why not exercise the way that we think and see things? All right, for a higher perspective so that we can navigate this new world, in a more deeply and connected and rooted way. Okay? All right, well, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you soon. Peace.